Alright, welcome back to my boss build series, and this is a build that you can use to farm this week's Hypernet current and Grandmaster. I wanted to do a Stasis build for Hunter because, well, I've used Solar to death this season, as I'm sure most of you have. Stasis is surging this week in the Nightfall, and I already put out a video yesterday with Warlock and a couple days before that with Titan. To farm this Nightfall and get your Adept Wild style grenade launchers. I got my God roll yesterday, and yeah, I said I'm probably not going to put out another video because I'm done farming. But and by the way, the God roll that I was going for with Wild style is Envious Assassin with Surrounded, with disorienting grenades and or spike, and I actually got disorienting and spike and quick launch and envious and surrounded. So I said I was done, but I wanted to put out a video for Hunter because well, I just didn't want to miss out on having some fun. I've been having fun with this Grandmaster, and I got to get my Hunter in there, and I wanted to use Warden's Law or Malfeasance. But I ended up just sticking to Warden's Law because it does just as much damage as Malfeasance, if not more, especially versus non-taken enemies. They're pretty competitive. I would say Malfeasance is probably better for taken enemies because that's what it specializes in. But I wanted to use an exotic weapon for my bread and butter ad clear, Le Monarch. Monarch is actually my most used weapon in the game, I believe, as far as kills go. But this takes care of unstoppables. I also wanted to use something with unrelenting or something that was able to heal because this build isn't playing into the subclass entirely as far as all the healing goes. And damage resistance that you can get from like Whisper of Chains and Whisper of Rhyme and making stasis shards and crystals, right? I'm not really I'm not even using stasis weapons for my bread and butter ad clear or damage, so I'm not making crystals, I'm not making headstones. I do have this stasis heavy grenade launcher, the dimensional hypotrichoid, and this thing got a buff this season, not only in reserves, so without any reserve mods I can hold 25 grenades. They increased the wave frame, or the wave of the grenade, by 40%, I believe, and I think they gave it a overall damage increase. So I've heard that this thing is actually viable for boss damage now, depending on the boss, but I wanted this version to be more for ad clear and the survivability, which is why I have unrelenting and chain reaction. So this is basically my forbearance of stasis in the heavy slot, because actually on my forbearance I've got unrelenting and chain reaction as well. So yeah, I can basically play at range with Le Monarch, which I plan to do with this build because, well, it's stasis. The survivability isn't the greatest, so it's not necessarily all that wise to play aggressive, like as if you're on a Strand Titan or something. So yeah, play at range with Le Monarch and switch to Warden's Law to do big damage to specific targets, and then if I get rushed or if there's a lot of ads, then I could pull out Dimensional Hypotrochoid, get some healing, get some major ad clear going on. So yeah, it's pretty good for that. You could honestly go with anything in your heavy slot, because what you got to do, or what you have to consider, I should say, with Lucky Pants, which is the exotic I'm using here, is that your hand cannon is your heavy weapon, right? And it's a huge bonus that it's obviously primary and you don't run out of ammo, but it is doing the damage of a heavy weapon, so it means that you can focus your heavy slot on something that's good for utility. Right, so in a lot of cases that could be like a sword or an eager edge sword or a machine gun just for general ad clear. And in this case, instead of a machine gun, I went with the grenade launcher. Not only are grenade launchers surging this week for this strike, but stasis is also surging, and nanotech tracer rockets are also surging if you have them selected in the artifact right here. Right, so like circular logic you can use, even though it's strand, you'll still get the 25% buff because it's overcharged if you select this. I'm using Hail the Storm, Pillar of Ice, Dragon's Bite. Not that they're doing a whole lot because I'm not really playing into the subclass all that much, except for its limited use for crowd control, and the major bonus here being Whisper of Rending. Right, so if I can consistently freeze targets, even if they're flashing in and out of frozen, shattering over and over again, every now and then I'll be able to hit primary weapon. I'll be able to shatter the enemy with my primary weapon, and it's going to do 40% more damage. The weapon is going to do 40% more damage while shooting frozen targets, right? So that's the major buff there. Whisper of Durance, just to increase the duration that enemies are slowed for, from my Withering Blade, my Shurikens, my Dusk Field Field Grenades, and my Super. So Whisper of Durance is something that I typically use on Revenant. And then Whisper of Fissures, because I am shattering frozen targets quite often, especially with Whisper of Rending, especially with my Super, my Dusk Fields. Targets will be freezing, and since I'm shooting frozen targets no matter what, I may as well increase the shatter damage while doing so. And then because I'm not producing Stasis crystals, at least not reliably, every now and then I get some from the seasonal artifact mods, so I can't really benefit from Whisper Shards for that 500% grenade energy. But I can get, I think the rate that you get grenade energy with Whisper of Torment is, I think you get 5% every second that you take damage. So it's decent. It's better than nothing if you want to get your grenades back a little faster, but this is kind of a toss-up fragment if you wanted to switch it out. But basically I wanted to throw as many Dusk Fields as possible to keep the enemies away from me, keep them frozen, keep them shattering, and all that. Aspects I'm using, Winter Shroud. I like Winter Shroud, especially with Marksman's Dodge. If I'm dodging a lot to reload my weapons, I can slow enemies nearby. If I pair one dodge with one Withering Blade, then I will freeze a target instantly. So it's just kind of nice to, if you're getting rushed by Thrall, you just dodge out of it, slow the enemies, and then they're kind of like suppressed when they're slowed. And that kind of gives you some time to get out of there. Touch of Winter, just to increase the Dusk Field Grenade slow field size, and also makes a crystal on impact that I can shatter for a bit of extra damage. So then I'm using Warden's Law. As I already stated, it is the best at base hand cannon to use with Lucky Pants. 4th time's a charm and Vorpal weapon. You definitely want Vorpal or Frenzy, but Vorpal is going to give you a 20% damage buff versus champions and bosses, especially with the big ones. You want to have that on there. I could really max the ammo out by going extended mag and 4th times, but it's a little overkill. By the time my out of luck or my illegally modded holster runs out on Lucky Pants, I got to reload anyway. So it's I could do an entire mag dump while the buff is active, without extended mag, basically. Without 4th times though, it's a little bit tricky. You might have to reload mid damage buff, and then it's basically going to you're going to lose out on your damage buff, and you really don't want to lose out on it. You don't want to reload mid damage buff because you got about 10 seconds to use your hand cannon, and the damage ramps up as you do damage. Stunning recovery here instead of Vanguard's Vindication, because obviously you're not ad clearing with this. This is just for stunning unstoppables and deleting champions, and while doing so I can get some ammo back in the magazine. It also triggers health regen, which I forgot about, and improves recovery. So you're definitely going to want stunning recovery on a weapon like this for that purpose. Le Monarch takes care of overloads, unrelenting, right? So I've got 2 weapons here that are doing most of my killing, right? And they're both giving me health, and Warden's Law is giving me health as well. So really, even though this build suffers without like Whisper of Chains and Whisper of Rhyme and those survivability fragments, you can make up for that with your weapon choices, right? So basically here, all of my weapon choices have healing built into them. And then Lucky Pants, just read this here. When you when you ready a fully loaded hand cannon that deals kinetic damage or damage type that matches your subclass energy type, which is a little fact that I forgot about because I was actually considering using a solar hand cannon to proc Radiant from the seasonal artifact, and then that way I can use something like Verglaw Curve, like a Stasis exotic, as my primary. But due to this little fact here, you can't do that. If you're going to use a Stasis solar hand cannon, then you need to be on, solar. If you use a solar hand cannon, you need to be on the solar subclass. Yeah, so once you pull out that hand cannon, each hit increases damage of the next shot for a short time, and that short time is about, I think it's 10 seconds. So yeah, insane damage, very good, especially in the boss room. You don't have to worry about heavy ammo, you just have to worry about when you're going to pull out your hand cannon and do some damage with it. So that's pretty much it for the build. I'm not focused on producing much heavy ammo here because I'm using the grenade launcher sparingly, just for survivability and a bit of ad clear here and there. So it's not, and with the reserve bump that the grenade launcher's got, it's not super necessary. I more so wanted to focus on, I guess you could say, almost PvP type mods here, because void targeting, kinetic targeting, and void loader, this is all just helping me, land those lucky shot hand cannon shots with targeting. And then same goes for Le Monarch. It's just better target acquisition, better aim assist, faster draw, or better DPS because of void loader, because with the void loader you actually knock your arrows faster. It doesn't increase your draw time, it just increases the rate at which you can put arrows into your bow. Bolster and detonation and bomber, so that when I do damage with my grenade, I get dodge energy, and when I dodge, I get some grenade energy. And then I'm just going with fonts here because Kickstart mod's just been kind of nerfed into the ground. So when I get that armor charge, I get another 10% damage on my hand cannon, and I max out my mobility to 100 with 30 extra stat points in mobility. If you wanted here, though, you can definitely go with Void, just to increase the effectiveness of Le Monarch, or you can go Stasis if you have a heavy. It's really up to you, but I mean, Warden's Law is my damage dealer, so that's really all I care about as far as prioritizing surge mods. Recuperation, just for that extra bit of survivability on orb pickup. Reaper to produce more orbs. Void Siphon, like I said. Solar Monarch is giving me healing on kills with Unrelenting. It's producing orbs that I can pick up for healing. After I dodge, I get a free orb. So yeah, the orbs are giving me healing. They're giving me surge mods, time dilation, just for extra time on those surge mods. And that's basically it. Damage resist, concussive, and arc. Those two I would not go without. And then Stasis here because it's harmonic resistance, 1 energy, that's all I had room for. But if you can fit another arc in there, or even a void or a solar, you got pretty much all damage types, including Stasis, so it's not really a loss to use Stasis resist. But yeah, that's basically the build. I'll put up some of the footage here. I only did a couple runs here, so I'm just going to clip out some of the highlights and show that gameplay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you don't have a Warden's Law yet, I believe it's still dropping from Nightfall, so you just wait for the week in which Warden's Law is dropping and try and get yourself a 4th times Vorpal, or at the very least get a Vorpal or a Frenzy one, and then yeah, you can definitely combine it with Lucky Pants to do some big damage. So enjoy, see you next time.
This is the access point. Let's get rid of that Taken before it opens a path into the Cloud Arc.